Right guys, since there's absolutely nothing happening on the allotments, too cold. Yesterday we had wind, rain and snow, we had sunshine, we had sleet, you name it, we had it. Couldn't do nothing yesterday. Today, sun's come out, okay, but it's absolutely bitter cold out there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go on a walk around, I'm going to show you what the plot's like at this present time. I think it's the 23rd today of February. So I have took some of the stuff out what wasn't too good, so I've tidied the plot up. So let's get out there and I'll go and have a look, and we'll meet back up here after the walk around, and we'll talk about the two guys I'm going to plug this week. Okay, see you in a minute folks, let's get out there. Right guys, oh look at that, flowers on Weaste Allotments. Can't be bad. February the 23rd and we've actually got flowers starting to come up here. Now these crocuses really, I mean I put them in pretty too soon really. But yep, they've all come up and they look really well. Some of them have come up and the rest of them are starting to come up, and there should be different colours in there, so we'll have to watch this space with that. At the moment the yellow ones, there's a real bloody biting wind here. I mean the sun's absolutely shining through here, but you can really feel this cold hitting the allotments, and this wind, you might not think there's much wind, but that flag there has been horizontal for most of the morning. Actually it's just settled down a little bit now. It's a great indicator, tells you which way the wind's blowing. At the moment it's a southerly wind. As you can see, the front part of the plot's absolutely glorious. Nothing I can do on the front part of the plot. Orchard sorted out, all the tulips and daffodils are coming up in the beds. I will tell you, I'm going home in about an hour, half an hour or so. I've got another order of these 30 litre buckets, what you can just see through this greenhouse here. I've got another 10. £27 it costs, that's delivered. Now don't make the mistake what some people do. My mate went and bought 5 buckets and it cost him 30 quid. I said, where the hell did you go to get it? He says, eBay. I says, man, I says, you should check all these. Don't just go on one shop. Check them all out. You can get a bargain. I mean, they're asking 60 quid for 10 buckets in some of these eBay shops, and yeah, I paid 27 quid delivered. And when I say £60, we're not even talking delivery on some of them. They absolutely rip you off, and they're the same buckets, unbelievable. So yeah, I'm going home to get me other 10 buckets. I'll probably end up buying another 10 as well, so we'll have about 40 odd of these buckets. Ideal for going my spuds. I think I mentioned I have great difficulties bending, can't dig. Just pushing a shovel into the ground and lifting it up absolutely causes me. We're talking severe pain in the base of the back, and that's only after a couple of shovels. I've got long handled shovels. What would take a fit person probably to dig this bed over here, it'd take them about 5 minutes to dig that bed over. Me, it'd take me 2 days to dig it over. And I have done it, but it took me like nearly 2 days to dig one bed over, right? And then 4 days in bed in severe pain, so it's not worth it. That's just to dig a few spuds out. So the easiest way for me is the spuds in buckets. You might laugh, but you can get some cracking yields of spuds. You only have to check a few of these allotment channels for me to prove the point. I mean, in a 30 litre bucket there last year. I think it was Chris, he had a 25 pound of Sal Palmyra, and I think, as you can tell, this year everybody's growing them Sal Palmyra, and the reason why they're growing them is okay, they do great yields, but they're actually blight resistant up to a point. So yeah, a lot of people will be growing them this year, and they all grew them in buckets last year, so that's what I'm doing. I'm growing them all in buckets. And the compost, what I do with the compost afterwards, if it doesn't go into the composting bins, it gets spread out across these beds, and that's how the beds get built up on here. That's why if you look down, you can see they're about 12 inches higher on the path. And if you look over there, you can just see where it drops down. That's how I have brought this plot up. So that's what I do. I put the compost on. I know it can be expensive, but with me it's not about money. I'm quite happy to put a few quid in. Like Jimmy likes to budget everything to make sure he's making something out of it. Well, I'm not all for saving money on the feeds and what have you, the compost. I mean, it's not really that important to me, but to Jim, like I say, he's running it basically for the food aspect. He wants to get it as cheap as he can. I'm growing it because it's just as byproduct of that wormery down there. I mean, the old allotments all started because of that wormery, and what you see here is just the gravy. I mean, the meat of the potato, it all boils down to that wormery down there. The reason why you see the chicken coop and the pen, all these raised beds, the greenhouses everywhere, shed, all this what you see here, the trees, all stems from that little wormery down there. And that's what I got the allotments for, was that wormery, so I could save myself a few quid in the worms. But I can tell you now, I've spent a few more quid as well getting the plot ready. But I've got a lot of this stuff given me. I mean, that chicken pen there, I was given the frame. I've spent about 100 in total on the chickens. The coop, I built the coop myself inside, and I actually put all the mesh around the perimeter. I did the roof, I did it all, and it cost me £150. That's with the chickens, so I would consider that a win-win bargain. This little greenhouse here, now this was all broken and twisted, and I rebuilt it, put it back together, cost me a tenner. Yep. Now that greenhouse there, that was probably the best bargain I've ever had. I paid 30 quid for that greenhouse out of B&Q. But again, the glass cost me 60 quid, the frame cost me 30 quid and what have you. So it cost me a total of £90 for a brand spanking new greenhouse, so about 300-400 quid. The shed, it cost me, this 34 planks went into building that shed, and it cost me, well, £1 a plank. I got most of the materials given me, so the only thing what cost me really on here would be half the trees and the compost and the seedlings. That's what's cost me the most really. But hey, it's not all about money. I just like growing the stuff. I got hooked like I did with fishing. You start off with something small, like that little wormery there, and this is what happens. I mean, it's only a space of 3-4 years now. I have been on here for the last 40 odd years with my dad. He had an allotments on here, and with another old bloke, Lou Thomas, who originally got me started into gardening, but he was also a fisherman as well, so you know. But yeah, everything's all down to this thing here, this wormer. I've had some problems with the wormer this year. I did a stupid trick. I put a load of horse manure on top of it, and well, what I did, I sent the worms right down at the bottom. But just, I mean, you can just about see in there. If you scrape some of that soil, but I'm not going to do it. It's absolutely laced with Dendrobinas, red worm. What's the other one? Well, there's lobworm in there as well, and brandlings. Now there's 4 different types of worms you can get, and they're all in there. And you probably think, well, why'd you get all these 4 different types of worms? Well, obviously I'm a fisherman, and what I do, I go to the tackle shop and I buy half a kilo. Well, I used to buy a kilo of worm every time I went fishing. So what I do is whatever I've got left over, I chuck into the composting bins here and throw the worms into the beds. And since I've been doing that, since I've had the wormer, I've saved myself, well, if you say you go 30 times a year and you're spending 16 quid a kilo, so it's about 480 quid I'm saving myself by having this wormery. So just this wormery on its own is paying for all this allotments, so it does work. And then again, you got your cash crops like this rhubarb. I've been given all this rhubarb. If you go to like Asda, you get about 5 sticks in a little pack for 3 quid. Now this is very expensive, this, and we do love rhubarb, and the whole family loves rhubarb. So this all comes up twice a year. You crop it. There's another £200 you just save there. So you know you get £760 in. Then you take the chickens. You come along to the chickens there. Now you think, well, it must cost you some money for feed for them. Well, let's weigh it up. What do we have to spend on chickens? I buy pellets. I buy 25 kilos of pellet. Egg layers pellet, and I buy 25 kilos of corn. That's a month, and that comes to 16 quid. Now I'm getting 8 eggs a day. That's probably about, I'm not doing this all in my head. Hang on, it's about 56 eggs, something like that's about 4 dozen eggs times 4, call it. So you got 16 dozen eggs. What do you pay for that half a dozen eggs? Free range like these things are. You're paying about 140, 160. So you know, they actually paying for themselves. I'm not adding it all up, but I'm actually making on them. So, and they're actually keeping themselves fed, so I don't have to spend any more money here. And the whole thing, the whole operation only cost me 160 quid. That was with the chickens, and that was just coming up to about 11 months ago I got these chickens. So yep, they pay for themselves. The only thing what doesn't pay for itself is like the compost and the packs of seed. And I have got a tendency to buy fertilisers, and if I see a flower that I like, I'll buy the flower. And then you got the containers, the buckets. I mean, I've got hundreds of these buckets down here, but I've only paid like £10 for like 40 of them buckets. So lucky to stumble across these things. I've got bigger buckets in me shed. I mean, even that mannequin, that cost me a £5. So this tank was the dearest thing, well, one of the dearest things. It cost me a £10. But it helps me out in a lot of other ways. I don't have to keep walking over down there to fill in the bloody water, the watering can up. It's just run the hose pipe to here, one trip every 6 months. So it does pay for itself. The orchard, now these trees are okay, £4 each, most of them. The ones down the bottom, the taller ones, I was giving them. So 1, 2, 3, there's about 8 there. Paid for say there was 10, so I spent 40 quid on these fruit trees, right? Now last year I had more fruit than I could shake a stick at. I was giving it away, and I only had a third of these trees. So imagine what it's going to be like in another 2 years. I'm going to have that much fruit. I'm not going to know what to do with it. Again, strawberries. I've given these strawberries. Each one of them plants will cost you about £2.5 quid in B&Q. £2.5 each. Now there's 100 of them in there. So you do the maths. It's a lot of money. And in spring, when they all start to come up, and we'll have strawberries galore here. How much are strawberries in shops? £2 a punnet. How many punnets do you think I'm going to get out of here? I'm going to get a right load out of. The potatoes. I spent about 20 quid on the potato bulbs, or whatever you like to call them. I've spent a total of about 80 quid on all the buckets. No, actually, no, I haven't spent 8 quid on the buckets. I spent about 56, yeah, about 80 quid on all these 30 litre buckets. I've got about 30 odd of them. So this is where the money starts to disappear. But when the spuds come, I'll be saving. Obviously, we'll be deducting the spuds off what it's actually cost. So I'm probably going to be out of pocket on the spuds for about another year, until they actually pay for themselves, because the spuds are not an expensive cash crop. Although they can be, they're Maris period like £2 for 2.5 kilos. And yeah, I've been getting like 5 kilos per bucket, so you know, it does pay for itself. These are the things what cost the money. The compost. So you know, taking into consideration the price of them, everything else pays for itself. I'm not as productive as Jim and Dan. I mean, they grow theirs. Obviously, what grow as much as they can, get better yields than me. I'm just here just to keep the status quo, try to save myself, not spend too much money. So yeah, my allotment's actually paying off at the moment for me. But it's took like 4 years to get to that stage where it's paying for itself. I mean, all these scaffolding boards was £1 a piece. So you got to add all that onto it as well. The cupboards was given, tables was given. There's a lot of this stuff have been given, so you know, save yourself a few quid if you can get it given you. It's always great when you get stuff given you. So there we go, that sun's gone in now. It's just gone behind these bloody big black clouds over here. So we're going to go up to the greenhouse, and I'm going to talk about the next 2 channels which I think is worthy of a mention, like I promised last week. So I think this week it's going to be number 3 and number 4. So let's get up to the greenhouse. Back in a bit, folks. Right guys, we're back in the the middle greenhouse, and now I'm going to plug number 3 and number 4, who I think are people you should be watching and subscribing to. Now the first person I'm going to give a shout to is the Welsh wizard Tony's Allotments, and below will be a link to one of his videos. It might be his first video, it might be the one where he starts his greenhouse off, or it might even be to the one to his latest competition. I might do that for you, so you can get over there. All you have to do is go on his channel and say something nice. Say something you don't like. You just go over there and you got a chance of winning a prize. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but what I want to really tell you about is the guy himself. Now last year he built this greenhouse, absolutely fantastic polytunnel greenhouse, and it's probably the best greenhouse I've seen out there construction wise. Absolute fantastic. I can tell you some scroats slashed it. It still looks absolutely fantastic. The guy put his heart into it, really felt gutted when they cut the thing, but don't get me wrong, this greenhouse is still there, folks, and it's a belter. And he put it together over a few episodes. He shows you step by step how he built it, and I can tell you now, it's probably, in my eyes, I would say it's the best polytunnel that I've seen out there for its size and its construction. So you want to get over there, you want to have a look. If you want to build a polytunnel, this is the guy you want to be looking at and follow what he's done step by step. Brilliant. He's been running a couple of competitions of late, and not this new competition, but the last competition. There weren't many people going over and clicking on to the competition. Now myself, I didn't go over for this. I've got a good reason why I didn't bother to enter this competition, because early on in one of my episodes, about 2 weeks ago, I built a mannequin, and Tony posted me the link to in this mannequin that he's actually built. So I already knew where to find this thing for the competition. So I thought, it's a bit naughty of me entering it when I already knew exactly where it was. So it wasn't fair. So I didn't go into that one. However, he's just started a new one now, and it's a testing kit for the pH and the phosphorus and all that lot on his potassium and in the soil, and it's a fantastic bit of kit actually. Now I entered the competition myself. Just all you have to do is go on and make a comment, you know, serious comment, you know, as long as you go on and you say something, you automatically enter the competition. Now, me and competitions are not very, we don't go well together. So what I did, I found out what it was, the kit that he was using, and I went and got one. So I've ordered one, so I should be getting one shortly. Got no bloody chance of winning it, like. But there you go. It's always another. You don't know until you try, do you? But yeah, I might post that link so you can go over, and it's a chance of winning something. But forget the competitions. You want to check his channel out. It's absolutely fantastic. So there you go. There's the Welsh wizard, Tony's Allotments. Go and check him out, guys. Now the other guy is Dan of the Allotment Diaries. Now this guy grows fantastic show onions, carrots. He got everything. He got parsnips, marrows. We can go on and on and on. Chilies. He won the competition last year with his chilies. So if you're into competitions, now this is the guy you all want to be going checking out. Oh, before I've got to stop myself here. Tony has reached 2,000 subscribers, by the way. So I thought I'd just mention that as well, which is well done. Now, Dan, I think he's at 10,000 subscribers, this guy. So, you know, he's been on a bit longer than Tony, and he's been on a hell of a lot longer than myself, like. But Dan, you can understand why he's got 10,000 subscribers, is because everything he grows is mutant. It's absolutely fantastic. He cracks me up when he goes, these onions are not doing very well. These onions are the size of footballs, guys. The size of footballs. And he's, I could do better. Well, good God, I'm happy with just getting an onion that weighs £2. If I could get an onion that weighed £2, I'd be smiles all over my face. He's a bit of a perfectionist, guys, and you want to check him out. You want to check out what he uses. He shows you all of stages how to bring them all on. He's got bloody light tunnels there, and all sorts of things. My cup just fell on the floor there, just caught it in my hand. Good catch that, actually. Yeah, so you want to go over and you want to check him out. There it is, Allotment Diaries, link below. I'll probably put a link to one of his show where he actually won some of his prizes. Now this is what I want to do eventually, enter shows. On here they're not into shows and stuff like that, competitions. It's a bit strange really having allotments and nobody's wants to go into competitions, but I might get them all started and then we can have competitions between each other. Right guys, I'm going to get going now. Going to get home. I'm going to see them buckets have arrived. I've ordered another 10 35 litre buckets on my spuds. They should be here today. And if anyone's interested in these buckets, on the video I made before this one, there's a link in the messages below the video. In fact, I might even put, if someone wants to know, I'll post a link up on here as well. Only if asked. But yeah, 27 quid for 10 buckets. Now you can pay. You've got to be very careful when you're shopping on eBay, because these same buckets you can get 5 buckets for 30 quid. So you know there's a big difference in price. So you've got to look around, and they're the same buckets as well. But I've got these things. There's 27 quid delivered, and you get 10 of them, 35 litres. Absolutely fantastic they are. Right, so I'm off to go and sit looking at the letterbox, waiting for these potato buckets to arrive. And then the bugger tries to squeeze them through the letterbox. He's going to be in for an horrible surprise, that postman, I can tell you. Alright, das bedanya. Catch you later.